I'm John McPherson with a quick floating home market update. As you can tell from the background, from the sky, it is not sunny today. And in fact, this is about the brightest it's been in a week. It's pretty cloudy, rain has set in, and it's just that time of year. We're in fall, and I have a market update for you through Halloween of 2024. So far this year, we've seen quite a few sales. The sales volume has been a little bit on the high side at 63 through the end of October. Usually, based on history, I would expect to have seen between 50 and 60 floating home sales. Now, of course, in 2020 and in 2021, which you can see from the numbers here, there were a lot more floating home sales as everybody played musical chairs. They were expecting to work from home a lot longer, which some people have continued to do so. And so people went out shopping for houses that they could stand to be in all day long, every day. You wake up, you have the benefit of cutting your commute time down to zero, but you're stuck in your house. And some people got the bright idea of, and I'll say it was a very bright idea, to buy a floating house because, the views are better. You can get done with work, hop on your boat, hop on a jet ski and go and have fun. So that's what happened during those 2 years. Otherwise, I would have expected to see, like I said, between 50 and 60 floating home sales year to date through the end of October. What has been going on is, as far as listings go though, is we've had a lot more for sale in comparison with past years as of the end of October. So at 66 floating homes for sale, that's quite a few more than I would have expected to see based on historical numbers. I would have expected to see somewhere between 40 and 50 floating homes for sale. So there definitely are a lot of floating homes for sale relatively. That has been a little bit difficult for floating home sellers. It might feel like the market is slow. It's not necessarily slow. The sales volume is a little bit on the high side for sure, as we just talked about. But when there are a lot more floating homes for sale, 30 or 40 or even 50% more floating homes for sale than usual, then it'll seem like the market is super sluggish. But that has not really been the case. It's just there's a lot for sale. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I hear floating homeowners say the same thing. My neighbors said it. We would talk about the market and what's going on, and they would talk about how the selling season is over for floating homes. Nobody wants to come and look at a floating home in the rain. And what I'll say is the people who don't want to come look at a floating home in the rain are the people who are not just in town visiting friends who say, wow, floating homes are cool. Let's call a real estate agent up and let's go just take a look at some floating homes for fun. And then so they call me, I schedule a showing by calling you. I interrupt your day, schedule a showing, they show up, and then I call them up and get some showing feedback, and it goes something like this. The buyers I am working with, well, they're early on in their search. Translation might be they're tourists in from out of town, and they're taking up your afternoon, kicking you out of your house so they can come in and see a cool floating home just for fun to kill time. So the only people who are out looking for floating homes when it gets cold and it gets gray, as it is right now, are people who are serious. And there still are some people out looking for floating homes. But what usually happens is homeowners who have their houses up for sale, who haven't sold their houses yet, say, well, nobody's looking for a floating home because it's rainy outside. I'll say to that, it's Oregon. Everybody knows it rains in Oregon. It's not really that impactful. But what then happens is sellers take their houses off in the market. Some listings get canceled, some expire, some of them just get withdrawn for a while, and the number of houses for sale drops. If it's not for sale, it's not going to sell. Buyers who otherwise would come in from out of town because they see one house they think they have interest in, but they wish there was more to choose from, don't come into town, and then therefore the market gets more sluggish, and we eventually usually hit a point at which there are only 20 or 25 houses for sale, sometimes below 20 houses for sale in January. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy when sellers start saying, nobody's out looking for a house, and then they pull their houses off the market, and then there is nothing to look at, so therefore there are no sales. In any case, I personally, if I had a floating house for sale right now in this market, given that sales actually are above normal for this so far this year through the end of October, I would keep my house up for sale, but just realize that there are going to be a couple of times where the market gets particularly sluggish, and it's true for houses on land too. And it's that time of year where people are packing suitcases, getting ready to go to grandma's house. They wake up at dark 30, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, go stand in line at TSA, get on the plane, fight for overhead bin space, get to grandma's, and promptly everyone starts arguing about who gets to make or has to make the cranberry sauce for Thanksgiving and Christmas. What I'm getting at is the holidays definitely do have a dampening effect on people out looking for houses and therefore sales. But if it were me, I would keep my house up for sale at least till the middle of December, and then maybe pull it off the market for a month or so, spruce it up, and put it back up for sale towards the end of January. But that's me. Also, I put together an entire, not just those summary numbers which are on the back here, but I put together an entire 4-page floating home market report. If you would like a copy, give me a call or write me an email, send me a text, whatever works for you, and I will send you a copy. Also, if you're thinking about buying or selling, you're curious about the market, of course, call me anytime. I'm John McPherson. Call me.